So I just had an idea, and this is fascinating. So Plato, in his Republic and in a lot of his works, is very critical of the poets and the actors because, in a sense, they're liars. And he goes into this and talks about like how they can corrupt society and whatever. But in Plato's time, there's something different because I'm watching Aladdin with my kids, and like I just had this idea pop in my head, and then like looking at this, I'm like, this is like the story of our culture. I mean, this is the story. These are the stories that everyone's seeing. This is in some sense a representation of our culture. Just is. So, is this different than the problem that Plato described in his works? Is the problem of television the same problem as the problem of actors? Because if it is, our society is screwed. And the problem of actors is the problem of stories to the ability of stories to manipulate people. Basically, it's the problem of narratives in general, but actors, in some sense, movies, people who produce these things. It's why like the Jews always get accused of corruption because like they're in a lot of media companies. People are like, "Oh my God, the Jews are trying to control culture through the media." It's like what? It's not the point of the thing, but like, let's think though: is this the same problem that Plato talks about in the Republic? And I don't think it is because ultimately Plato is talking about actors acting things live. And when you're acting things live, there's a certain authenticity because you're always acting it the way you are now. You're not recording it and then just replaying it. But in a sense, you could like look and be like, ooh, there's a younger audience. I'm gonna like, or like, ooh, like no one who would tell on me is here. I'm gonna like make the story seedier or something. But with media online, published media, like YouTube videos, for instance, I can't change what I've said on the YouTube video. It's just there. And people can cut it and make kind of like it look like I've said things I haven't, if they so chose to do so. I don't know why they would, but maybe they had a million reasons. Read the 48 Laws of Power. But basically, it's stuck. Like, I have to stick it. It's just the lack of changeability. Like, back in Plato's time, they didn't have written language as much as we do now. Like it wasn't as big of a thing, like the mass production of paper. Like it was really all of it was like oration. It was all spoken. So all plays were done like they weren't even like written down. They were just memorized. So you could just constantly change the story slightly. And it was probably used politically to like great effect. I mean, you're like, okay, like let's like if you could gain control of the plays, then you could make all the plays have morals that suit your political aims. So everyone's kind of thinking in that way. So then you seem like the enlightened person who's in line with the times, but really you just bought out all the actors. And they could even not do the play that particular way when other people are there. And it's like a he said, she said, because there's no recordings. But now we don't have that. So I think it creates an honesty, a forced honesty. Because like Aladdin, the movie that we were just watching, they can't just change Aladdin. Like it's the same Aladdin I watched as a kid, I think. I mean, unless there's some weird new conspiracy. Like they're changing the movie, and maybe. Keep an eye on that, people. Uh, but um yeah, so it's interesting. I think that that might make that problem go away, maybe. Maybe Plato would be happy with published media because it forces people to be honest in the sense that they can't just change it. Like if I write a book, the book's on people's shelves. Like I can't just snap my fingers and like change it. Like if I write a PDF and the PDF's on your computer, unless I have access to your computer, I can't just change it. If I make a YouTube video and you download the YouTube video or watching the YouTube video, I can't just go change the YouTube video. It just says what it says. I mean, I could probably edit it maybe, but like you can download it though, so you can have recordings of these things. So they'd still be like, no, you changed it, and there'd be proof and whatever. And YouTube probably doesn't even allow you to do that. So there's an honesty to published media that isn't present in more lively forms of media. It's just very interesting. Wanted to share that thought with you guys.